Greetings, welcome back to Black Bear News, where we are discussing climate change, things related to climate change, the situation, the ongoing developments, all happenings, climate change. With a little bit of politics sprinkled in here and there, a little bit of world affairs. Greta Thunberg seems to be everywhere, and that's great. That's great news. I just ran across her TED Talk today, and it was amazing. And I don't know where I put the link, but I will find the link and I will link it in this video. It's quite good if you haven't seen it. So this video will be just me reading a few articles, a couple articles that looked pretty interesting. Both of these articles are from Robin Data. I have not read either of these articles, but I just liked the title and the gist of the article, so I'm going to dive in and not waste any more time blah-blahing. This article is called 467 Ways to Die on a Warming Globe by Clive Hamilton from Monday, November 26, 2018. While most people in most countries accept the truth of climate science, they reject its implications. What can be done to change that? A new study published in Nature has found evidence for 467 ways in which climate hazards due to global warming are making life on the planet harder for humans. It confirms that we are witnessing a shift in the functioning of the Earth system as a whole, a shift to a new state that is unsympathetic to the continued flourishing of human life. A changing climate is only one feature of a warming globe. Human activity has bounced the Earth into a state that has no equivalent in its 4.5 billion year history. The Earth's new trajectory as it spins into the future has led scientists to tell us we have entered a new geological epoch, the Anthropocene. We have crossed a threshold and the geological clock cannot be turned back. The disruption we have caused is increasingly unpredictable and and it has no endpoint. There are, therefore, two questions humankind must face. What must we do to prevent serial disasters becoming existential catastrophe? And how can we make our social and economic systems flexible enough to cope with the new dispensation? There are several reasons an international agreement has proven so hard. The leading one is sabotage by climate science deniers. Can it be countered? Climate science denial was invented and propagated mainly in the United States by the fossil fuel industry in the 1990s and early 2000s, and it has been very effective, apparently. The challenge is no longer how to use information to change people's minds. The challenge is how to change a culture. Activists know how to thwart an industry lobbying campaign, but then something calamitous happened. Rejecting climate science became caught up in the culture war. The Tea Party and Fox News were largely responsible for the shift. Before then, even a conservative like Sarah Palin accepted the science and called for action. Sarah Palin. But after 2009, rejecting climate science became a badge of political identity for conservatives. And this is very, very true, not just conservatives, but I will say the conspiracy community at large. And you can call that the anti-establishment community at large. For the most part, there's a large part of anti-establishment, counterculture, conspiracy, anti-elitist, anti-globalist culture that is, they all pass around this football of, climate denialism, and it's not based on anything. That's what's so lame about it. They just, have taken it in like, oh yeah, it's all part of their plan. From that point onwards, facts no longer mattered. So the challenge is no longer how to use information to change people's minds. The challenge is how to change a culture. No one knows how to do that. Just Trump. Last week, Donald Trump, who calls climate science a hoax, visited a California devastated by wildfires. When asked whether his visit would change his mind about climate change, he said, no. What else could he say? The journalist was asking him if he would change who he was. the thing about Trump, though, is that he knows that climate change is real. I don't know why this video is very dark. I apologize, but it's upsetting me. I worked very hard to not have my videos be so dark, and now suddenly it's very dark. But, you know, that's what it's going to be. It's late at night. We'll just call it, you know, climate change after dark. Yes, it's too easy to blame the world's slowness to act on crazy American deniers, because in a way we are all climate science deniers. The full truth of what humans have done is almost impossible to take in. To fully embrace the message of the climate scientists means giving up the deepest presupposition of modernity. The idea of progress. Relinquishing our belief in progress means we must let go of the future, because we have been taught from infancy that the future is progress. In our minds, replacing the old future defined by progress with a new future defined by endless struggle requires a period of grieving. Not many people have the stomach for that. While most people in most countries accept the truth of climate science, they don't accept its implications. What can be done to change that? That is because even people that accept climate science, a lot of denial going on there too. Changing minds. When it comes to communicating the science's message to the public, there is no magic potion to be found. A lot has been tried, and some of it works reasonably well, up to a point. The scientists must keep doing their research and putting it out. Accusing them of alarmism is a calculated political slander. In truth, they have consistently been too cautious in their warnings, especially in IPCC reports. Channels like this are not alarmist. They're not terrifying people. They're not, you know, I often feel, you know, some guilt around this information. And sometimes I've said in past videos that I feel sadistic, but the truth is that channels like this are giving you truth that is necessary and is, it's imperative. It is not just important, it's actually, it's mandatory that you understand this. If you don't understand this, you are hiding from reality. You're hiding from the truth, and you're hiding a truth that is going to hurt your children and is going to hurt a lot of people. And whether we can do anything to change that or not is beside the point. The point is that the lack of acceptance is creating this cognitive dissonance, is creating something of like this walking madness that I think a lot of people are operating under, because they know things are really messed up. But they cannot let go of this whole, like, you know, live your life this way and everything will be beautiful and you'll get all, you know, be very rich. And some people are actually doing very well. It's really actually a little frustrating for me, because I see a lot of friends of mine, people I know on social media, and they're doing quite well, and they're, you know, making progress in their careers and their jobs, and they're having a good time, and they're enjoying their life with their family. And I'm like, crap, you know, like I would like to be doing that too. And I am enjoying life on some, you know, there are things I'm enjoying, but, you know, the whole like progress, you know, I'm going to go this way, you know, I'm going to do things to enhance my life and everything's going to get better. Like, I just can't buy into it. It's very difficult for me to buy into. And that's causing me great deals of stress and distress. Anyways, moving on. The meaning of the reports has not sunk in. It's clear that the Earth warmer by 4 degrees, and after the unwinding of the 2015 Paris Agreement, that is the path we have returned to, will impose enormous stresses on all societies. 4 degrees is actually pretty much extinction, like not just enormous stresses. In poorer countries, it will lead to mass migrations, many deaths, and violent conflict. The effects in wealthy countries will depend on who holds power and how they govern. Disasters, food shortages, and waves of immigration will magnify resentment against the rich, who will be attempting to insulate themselves from the turmoil around them. But they too depend on the infrastructure of urban life, electricity and water supply, sewerage and waste disposal, transport systems for food, and so on, and they can't insulate themselves from social upheaval. Some communities will learn to adapt more effectively. Smaller cooperative communities will be best placed to adapt themselves to endure the troubles. However humans live or die on the new earth we have made, we are approaching the endpoint of modernity. It's difficult for me to pronounce that word because I don't know. It just is. We must accept that it is finally true that the man in the environment of man, that man is the environment of man. And that's the end of that article, which is quite good. I really enjoyed that. I hope you did too. I'm going to move on and hopefully quickly read this next article from James Howard Kunstler. Sleepwalkers Awoke. And this is from, when is the date on this? When is the actual date of this article? It's hard to tell. Let's see. Why don't I just open up the webpage and see if I can see with my own eyes and look at it. December 14th, 2018. Andrew Sullivan called it the Great Awakening in a shrewd New York Magazine column this week. He refers, of course, to the earlier episodes of American religious hysteria, namely the Great Awakening of the 1730s that featured the Reverend John Edwards raining sulfur and brimstone down on guilt-racked New Englanders. And then the Second Awakening of the early 1800s that spun off innumerable Protestant sects, cults, and utopian experiments. I like the term wokesterism or wokesterism because the ism part acknowledges that the current hysteria makes a religion out of politics. Sullivan's theory is that wokesterism is an improvised replacement for sclerotic American Christianity to fill the vacuum of entropic meaningless that pervades life in the Republic these days. He says, and so we're mistaken if we believe that the collapse of Christianity in America has led to a decline in religion. It has merely led to religious impulses being expressed by political cults. Like almost new cultish impulses, they see no boundary between politics and their religion. Interesting. Wokesterism eerily mirrors many of the harsher practices of the most severe American Protestantism. It offers its own original sin, white privilege, from which there is neither redemption nor hope or redemption, like the old Presbyterian hell for babies who have come into this world drenched in sin. No amount of abject apology will avail for heretics to wokesterism. The principal aims of wokesterism are coercion of others, persecution and punishment of the guilty, the unwoke. Most importantly, it requires the suspension of individual conscience in order to promote unthinking robotic obedience and mob justice. Very true. That is actually pinpoint. That helps explain the disgraceful blindness of the wokester left, especially the educated elites who work in the news media, the computer tech sector, and other creative class vocations. One thing that Sullivan leaves out is the necessity for the devil. That role is filled by Mr. Trump. Totally, actually. His sinister cargo of belief countering the wokefulness of unicorns and rainbows is the dark theology of MAGA, and Mr. Trump's followers are the imps, demons, incubi, and succubi of deplorable flyover land. Wokesters will spare no effort to vanquish all this wickedness, and even lying and cheating in the service of that end is considered fair play. Hence the errant and epic dishonesty of the New York Times. Interesting case in point, yesterday's developments in the General Flynn court case are not even present in this morning's Times. I speak of the action on the bench of federal judge Emmett Sullivan. It's been brought to his attention that the scurrilous entrapment of General Flynn by woke FBI managers entailed departures from normal lawful procedure. General Flynn was interrogated in January of 2017, and the FBI account of the interview was not written supposedly until August of that year. Reports and memorandum must be written ASAP after an interview for the obvious reason that much important fact may be forgotten or misremembered if not documented right away. There is actually reason to believe that earlier versions of the report exist or did exist, and they were trashed or buried when the main interrogator of Flynn, Peter Strzok, was cashiered from Robert Mueller's team in July 2017. Judge Sullivan Sullivan has demanded that the FBI produce those earlier docs by today, Friday at 3 p.m. It will be interesting to see if the FBI complies or not. There is also a fair chance that Judge Sullivan will throw out General Flynn's conviction based on prosecutorial misconduct. There's also something else that's interesting that's going on with Flynn, and that is, so I'm going to say real quick. So I follow the Q thing that's happening. I don't follow it because I'm a follower of Q or I believe that everything is true about it. I follow it because it's not a conspiracy theory. It's actually a thing that is happening. Whether you believe the place that it's coming from is true or not, that's up to your own discernment. But the thing is, there's actually information being given out, and if you're not following it or paying attention to it, you're actually missing some things. You're missing some information that could be helpful in your understanding of the political realm, because we're only getting on the left. I'm including myself on the left. We are only getting this like one story all the time, and the fact is that story actually a lot of times is false as hell. And just because you are open to the actual truth or the information not lining up with this story doesn't mean that you support Trump or that you like these people. It just means that you're open to the actual truth of what is going on, whether it supports Trump or, whether it goes in Trump's favor or not. And, the whole like Trump being the devil thing is honestly hilarious, because he's become like a literal dumpster for everything bad in society. Like everybody can just blame everything on Trump or Trump's influence on life, on the entire planet. And, it's all Trump's fault, and Trump is the spawn of all, things evil in the universe. And we're going in the wrong direction. It's all Trump's fault. That's actually not true. He's part of the problem. He's a big part of the problem, but the problem is much bigger than he is. And if you're not open to realizing that the problem was going on before him and will continue on after him, then you're missing the goddamn point of what is really going on in the world. Anyways, that's the end of my little blah, blah, blah. Again, I follow Q for the information and not because I like, a lot of what they're saying is actual bullshit on some, on a lot of love. They're ignoring things, right? Because they listen to this monolithic story and everything is this. And so they refuse to see anything over here that might be the truth. And people on the left are doing that too. So don't do that. In the event, so what I was going to say was that Flynn actually lied. He actually didn't lie. He admitted he didn't lie. So he's convicted of lying to Congress or whatever in his testimony. The thing is that didn't happen. That was like he falsely admitted to lying, but he actually didn't lie. And if you follow the Q thing, there was a reason why he did that. He did that on purpose to deflect attention away from something else that's going on. There's a whole nother investigation. There's a whole nother investigation going on that is kind of under Mueller, but doesn't have anything to do with Trump and Russia. It has to do with the Clinton Foundation and the Clintons, and all this other stuff is going on, and the left refuses to talk about it because they're like, oh my God, don't say anything. Don't let anybody know. But it actually is happening. It is happening, and it's going to start coming out soon. They actually closed down a whole floor of, oh gosh, I don't know what it was. There was some testimony going on 2 days ago, and they closed off a whole floor of whatever the government building that they were in, and everybody was like, "What the heck is going on?" There was some it was so high. So hush hush and so high level and whatever that they wouldn't let anyone, the press or nobody close to even what was going on, because it was that sensitive or whatever. And the news did not report this at all, at all. Anyways, in the event, we could see the awesome downfall of the arch angel or archangel Mueller, in the unraveling of wokester dreams of defeating the devil via the Mueller Inquisition, it will certainly be an embarrassment to the ardent wokesters of the news media who have shilled for this campaign for over 2 years. The General Flynn business is not the only thread unwinding in the giant tapestry of wokester narrative, as in other epic persecutions like the Jacobin reign of terror in 1790s France and the Mao Zedong's Cultural Revolution of the 1960s, the tables are turning. The inquisitors, prosecutors, and executioners are going to face charges themselves. And harsh punishment is not out of the question. The defeat of wokesterism could be a very salutary outcome for a nation that has so badly lost its bearings to the worst of human instincts, religious persecution. It could be a fatal blow to the Democratic Party, which will have to find an alternative reason for its existence than devil and demon hunting. The devil hunters themselves could be in the dock in 2019, answering for their actual crimes against American citizens and the public interest. That's what he's alluding to, everything that I just explained. Even the sainted holy mother of wokesterism, the Archangel Hillary, may find herself wingless in a witness chair, answering how all that swag from Russian banksters happened to end up in her foundation's cookie jar. I know all the liberals and all the lefties don't want to hear this, but this is going to be like a weird. It's going to be a weird time because it's actually, that stuff is actually happening. That is going. It's proceeding. If nobody knows who Huber is, John Huber, the prosecutor that's been assigned all this stuff, assigned like he's got a bunch of indictments, sealed indictments, and they're like, was supposed to testify on the day that HW had his funeral, and that was postponed, but then they moved it to the 13th or the 14th. So it's still, all this stuff is like still ongoing, and the Mueller investigation is going to end up being something that isn't going to be what people think the end of it is. Not going to be like, we got them Russians and we tied it all together. Like they still haven't found anything implicating Russians in anything. They're getting people for like lying. They're probably going to they might get Trump for lying and mishandling, campaign funds and all that stuff, which is all fine and well. But we need a really clean house. We need Trump gone is not the end of our woes, not even by a long shot, not even close. We need a lot of people gone. We need the end of all this corporate bought and sold politicians, basically. And that's a lot of them. That's a majority of them. The few sprinkling of progressives, and those who are willing to challenge the status quo and willing to challenge the money in politics game. There's a very few, but we need that to be the actual majority if we're going to even have a chance of making any kind of change or getting out from under this. Just absolutely, it's suffocating, what's happening. The corporate control of our government and everything that is going on in our lives is absolutely suffocating everyone, and it's beginning to envelop everyone. And the octopus is squeezing tighter every single day. The octopus of social media control and surveillance and cameras everywhere, and they're following you on your phone and they're recording everything you're doing. If you have a computer screen or a TV screen, or even your car can record you, your phone can record you. Your surveillance is going on 24/7, and that octopus is squeezing tighter. And unless we somehow throw off the shackles of how this is going, because it is fascism. We're already there, and it's getting worse. And Trump is here to usher that in. If you're confused about that at all, he's here to help that control just wing it on along. but all of this must go. All of that must go. And I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know what the mechanism is going to be, but it's going to be a lot messier before it gets cleaned up. Yeah, look for 2019 to be most likely a very wild ride. Thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. If you would like to support this channel, you can do so with the links below. Maybe I can buy some more lighting. I don't know. I have a lot of lights on, but it's just really dark in here. And every time I try to put more lights on me, it just, I don't know. There's a weird, maybe it's the darkness is encroaching. Help, help. Until next time, peace.